Okay, well, welcome back to the Heiden Level Up Leadership Podcast. Here today is an incredible guest, but I don't even like using the word guest. This is family here on the podcast today. Dr. Pastor, but he would like to be called Kevin Ezell, joining me on the Level Up Leadership Podcast. What an honor it is to have you here today.
It's an honor for me.
Yeah.
You're kidding, always, man. I always love being around you and your staff and just seeing what God's doing here is
so good. Well, the trustees from the North American Mission Board are in Las Vegas,
right?
And thank you for carving out a little window to jump here on the podcast. A lot of people know you as a great strategist, and you're the president of NAM. But I think sometimes people don't know that you're a great leader in how you maneuver, pastor, lead. Your journey speaks to so much level up leadership throughout the life that you've lived as a husband, dad, and beyond. And so I would love to just ask you, kicking it off, tell us how you're leveling up in your leadership in this season of life.
No, that's a great question. In this particular season, I mean, things have changed. I've got some of the most, I got the highest capacity leaders around me that I've ever had.
Wow. And
so it kind of changes my role.
Yep.
And, sometimes you have to just adjust with the seasons. And I have 6 kids. They've all now left the house.
Wow.
We're empty nest.
Yeah.
So I have to adjust to the role.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of adjusting going on, but it's a good adjusting. I feel like you can get more done now than ever. But a lot of times I had to level based on who I had around me.
Wow.
And the best leaders, in my opinion, as you know, they put the highest quality, high capacity people around them.
So good.
And then look for their gaps or their blind spots and either staff those or that's where you have to level off. And
that's so
take
good.
care of it.
Man, yeah, I want to say it was John Maxwell who said, "Show me your friends, I'll show you your future."
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And when you were sharing that, I'm thinking, yeah, level up leaders attract level up leaders.
Mm-hmm.
We want to, what does the proverb say? Walk with the wise,
Yeah.
You'll become wise.
Well, the difference between a good leader and what I think can be a great leader is a sense of security. Guys who are insecure, are hesitant to put high capacity people around them. Man, I've always tried to put people with greater ability than me around me.
So good.
And if you can just free them up, and help them stay focused, but free them up and let them run and cheer them on. And that's what's really fun about leadership. It's
so
not
good.
What you do, but it's watching what others do because you set them up to succeed.
Wow.
Some guys can't handle that. It's just hard to not be the focus. But if you can not be the focus, that's when I think a good leader can become a great leader.
That's amazing. Yeah, even when you share that, I'm thinking of Jesus, right? Like who calls these 12 knuckleheads in a lot of ways to follow him.
Yeah.
And then he begins to disciple them, and then he drops a line on them like, hey, you're going to do greater things.
Yeah.
And he says that in a way like, I want you to do great things.
I'm expecting you to do greater things.
I'm expecting you. I'm going to put my spirit in you that you take this thing further.
Yeah.
And if that's how he modeled it, then I think he's the greatest leader of all time.
No, absolutely.
Let us follow his steps.
No, absolutely. And he focused on doing extraordinary things through ordinary people.
So good.
And I really believe God often calls us to do things greater than our ability to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because when you do something you can accomplish, everybody expects it.
Yeah.
When you played basketball, when you shot your average, we're like, well. Yeah, it's just. But when you do something extraordinary, it's beyond your ability. Then only God gets the glory because everybody knows you couldn't have pulled that off on your own.
1,000%. Yeah. Thinking about Steph Curry the other night. It was a 50-point playoff game, but he's giving glory to God as well. I don't know if you're a Steph fan.
He missed on my De'Aaron Fox Kentucky guy. I got
forgot.
Monk and all those Kentucky players.
There's quite a few BBN, Big Blue Nation over there.
Yeah.
In the Kings world, but no, that's so good. It's been, for Nina and I, we are so grateful for you and Lynette, and just the NAM Send Network family has cheered our church on over the years. 7+ years ago, the trustees were here. At that time, Walk Church was a dream in our heart.
Right.
And the dream in a lot of ways has become a reality up to this point. And again, I just want to take this moment today to say thanks for cheering us on and supporting us throughout the journey. Hopefully it's been a blessing for you guys as well.
Oh, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
It really is the fun part. And especially even now,
Yeah.
As you've the church is maturing and going through a whole different season as it will, and leading others to do that and multiply and
so good
and have a kingdom-sized vision. So and you've come a long way, but you still have a long way to go, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, so. Talk about that. Long way to go. You looking at your journey, you were pastor at Highview Baptist Church was that in Louisville, Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I still say Louisville, and the people are like Louisville. You know, I'm like trying to learn how to say it right.
Just say Lexington.
Lexington. There we go. There you go. And that was a big part of your ministry journey. Right. Maybe we can talk about how you were leveling up in your leadership as a pastor there at Highview, and then we'll work our way to NAM as well.
Sure. Yeah. My very first church, as you know, they voted me in 7-0. Right. So I went from very small, and then Highview was going through its own issues. It just struggled. They just let go of pastor because of an affair. And so, man, when you walk in a church through a trial like that, what I found is when you come to, I came like a year later, and they were still mad, and they need somebody to kick.
Of
so
course.
It took about 18 months to 2 years for them to kind of vent all their frustration on the last guy.
Yeah, wow.
But then after that, we were able to. It was just a season. But I found in leadership, if you can look at it as more of a marathon instead of a sprint,
so good,
because it is a long haul, and it's like, man, you can do this. You get mad, you get frustrated, but I'm going to be here. I'm not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
and that's when they realize that you gain their confidence. Like, look, I can follow that guy because he withstood that. So they're ready to follow.
I love that. Yeah, one thing that I've learned from you just in creating some of that buy-in, that fellowship is really just how to love people well. I remember taking a seminary class at Southeastern Seminary, and one of the classes online showed a class that you taught that we leaned into. Yeah. And I remember you saying on that class, just if you love people well, even if you're an average preacher,
right? Even
if your kids' ministry is not kind of blowing and going, the worship is just okay, but if you love people well, people will come back.
No, yeah.
That's something that you've experienced in your journey?
Yeah, I've found if you work hard and love people. Yeah. And I've had to go and help move a guy back from a church that got fired that ran about 40.
Wow.
And the church said, look, he didn't even know our names. He's theologically educated. He's actually a very good preacher, but he didn't even know our names. And there's only 40 of us.
Wow.
And it's like, man, what can you not understand about sitting down at a restaurant and actually caring about the other person? That's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
When he talked to people, they realized, man, he's looking in their eyes, and loving them for who they are.
Yeah. And he knows the Samaritan woman's story.
Oh yeah.
Details.
No, absolutely.
So good.
And wants to know it. Yeah. So I found in some, especially in ministry, some people look at people as an obstacle, or it was funny. You talk about Highview. When I got to Highview, I asked each person there, tell me what's your biggest challenge.
Yeah.
And I asked the student pastor, what is your biggest challenge as our student pastor? He goes, well, honestly, it's really easy for me. I was okay. What is it? He goes, I don't like students.
Oh,
I was like,
hello.
Well, there's a problem.
Yeah.
And so it really, that's just so basic.
Yeah.
That people overlook it and think I can just wing it. But people know if you're faking it or not.
Right.
And but I just prefer to do life with.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for what people do around me, but I want to know them. And I did something with my staff one time. I was convinced they weren't really appreciating each other. They knew each other's names, obviously, but and so I just put a sheet across the table, have everybody write down the other person's spouse's name and their kids' names.
Wow.
To see if they actually knew or not. And they've been working together for several years.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know their kids' names.
Wow.
So just these blank expressions when they tell you what their son or daughter are doing. And so it's just, it's genuinely loving people. And you see that all through the New Testament.
Totally.
Especially in Timothy and Titus. Yeah. I mean, just genuinely love people.
In a way, I hear you saying, hey, for anybody listening to this, whether you're a church planner, pastor, banker, educator, wherever God's placed you, if you want to level up your leadership, level up your love for people.
Yeah, it all starts with that. And actually, you go to 1 Corinthians 16, we were just talking about another passage. But he says, hey, be bold, courageous, all these things. But then he says, do it in love.
So good.
It's just in the tone
right.
and the tenor in which you say things and do things. It matters. And it's the difference between people following and wanting to push back.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you model that so well. I've heard you share a little bit about your season with bowling.
Yeah.
And when you got to the church you were at, talk to us about your bowling story.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Well, whatever you want to share.
Yeah. No, it's just every church is different.
Yeah.
When I went to Highview, we were more of a blue collar church, and so I told my wife, "Look, I don't bowl, but I'm gonna have to join a bowling league. I'm gonna get on these guys' bowling team and get to know my leaders," and I did.
Yeah.
And
no, that's the example.
Yeah. Well, and my first church my first full-time church was in Hartsville, Tennessee.
Got it.
All right. The guys, they went out frog gigging.
Frog gigging.
Yeah, I never gone frog
Define that
gigging.
for a city guy like myself.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's pretty complex. You just go catch frogs, basically.
Okay.
Bullfrogs.
Okay.
So you hear them, but they actually have these long poles with a trigger. It's like almost a gun. It just, you pull the trigger, it just grabs the frog.
Wow.
And they don't gig them as much as they grab them.
Okay.
And then they have, frog leg dinners and things like that. It's not my thing, trust me. It just tastes like chicken. That's what they say.
I got you.
But I went with them. You know, if it's a NASCAR race or whatever, I just wanted to spend time with them.
Yeah.
And it's much like you're going to do with your your boys, your kids.
Yeah.
You adjust to what they want to do.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what you. And it's in
So
leadership.
good.
You've got to put the investment in the time.
Yeah. On one of our previous podcasts, we had David Butler jump on, and we were talking about leveling up leadership. And he basically just said being others focused has been the thing for him, where he's, I might not even be interested in frog gigging, but I'm going to learn it just to show you that I value, what is the Philippians verse? I'm putting your interests over mine.
Yeah.
And I think, I need to continue to be reminded of that. I'm sure everybody listening as well.
Well, there's just this gravitational pull to always be selfish and go back to what you really, and you just have to constantly remind yourself that, hey, look, it's not about me. And it goes for every area of life. Being a leader in your marriage, in any relationship, it's that gravitational pull. We're basically pretty selfish. We were born sinners. And we're pretty good at it.
We're pretty good at it. We don't have to try too hard.
No, it just happens.
So good. So let's talk a little bit about the word adversity. I feel like
never had any.
Can't speak to it. Now,
next question.
Well, I think that at least what I've found, the more I level up in my leadership, the more there's issues, there's adversity. The devil hates it. Not everybody may even understand what what you're doing, what you're leveling up in. Talk to us how you've been able to navigate adversity through the different roles that you've served in.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, first thing I try to do is not take it personal, even when it is.
Wow.
Because if you take it personal, then you respond emotionally. You say things you shouldn't say, and so I just try not to take it personally. And then what I've also realized is some of the meanest, as we would say in Kentucky, ornery people I knew. There's a reason behind it.
Wow.
There's a story there. Something you don't know what it is, but hurt people. And you've heard that, and it's true. And so I've tried to separate it. One, I ask myself, look, whatever they're complaining about or the challenge, is it legit? If I don't like the person necessarily, or what they're saying, is there something I can learn from it? Is it really legit? And if it is, and I try to learn from it. If not, then adjust, answer, and move on, and not let it derail you. It's just, so often we're just too easily derailed. Like, oh my word, people are against me, or oh my word, we just need to put it in pause. And man, that's just not. Sometimes it's better to outrun the rain instead of sit in it. And so, I'm thankful for Peter that he stepped out on the water.
Right.
Yeah, but the minute he took his eyes off Jesus, put his eyes on the storm, that's when he began to sink.
That's right.
And that's what Jesus told him. Look, you keep your eyes on me. Don't sweat the storm. I got that.
Yeah. Don't focus too much on the adversity as a whole.
No.
But keep your eyes on him, who's going to lead you through it.
Yeah. And it's hey, is there something I did to, something you just can't help.
Right.
We just don't have control over everything.
Yeah.
And that's the part I think sometimes we have this godlike complex where we think we actually can fix everything, and you just can't.
Yeah, that's exhausting. To try to be God is not our call.
No. Well, and it is a dad, you want to try to protect your kids, your family, and say, well, I can jump in and I'll fix this in some way.
Yeah.
And man, that's the first step in really messing up whoever you're trying to disciple as a leader is trying to make it too protected for them.
Wow, that's good. So I introduced you briefly as Kevin Ezell, president of North American Mission Board, but for those who are unaware of what NAM or the North American Mission Board does, could you just give a quick definition of what that means to be
absolutely
part of?
Everything we do at NAM is about evangelism.
Yeah.
The primary focus of NAM is to plant church. We want to partner with churches to plant churches.
So good.
And we do that through what we call Send Network.
Yeah.
And over 60% of our budget goes to partnering with churches to plant churches all over North America.
It's incredible.
Everywhere for everyone.
Yep.
And then a good part of our budget goes to Send Relief, and it's about meeting needs and trying to meet needs and change lives.
Yeah.
And helping people see that there's needs all around, and we have to engage in the community to do that.
Yeah.
And then also one part of the North American Mission Board people don't realize we have over 3,300 endorsed chaplains all over the world.
So good.
And that we're
Making
very
a difference.
thankful for and make a huge difference. And so we focus on Send Network, church planting, Send Relief, our compassion ministry, chaplaincy, and then everything we do is about evangelism.
Amazing. Yeah. And for those who aren't aware, I'm honored to serve on the Send Network team myself here in Las Vegas as the city missionary, really just helping church planters get here on the ground, be cared for, and level up in their leadership. Let's see this church get off the ground, not just stay in your heart.
No, absolutely.
So
and match planners with partners and cities and cultivate, and helping them. You do a great job of helping them navigate the seasons that you've already gone through.
That's it. So much of that.
Learn from some of the successes and learn from some of the things you probably wouldn't do different. You would do different.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. One thing you were sharing recently about was Paul and Barnabas in the book of Acts, and just how opposition even will occur at times while you're leading. Mm-hmm. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, in Acts 13, it's when Antioch sends out Paul and Barnabas. It's a great story about the first missionary journey. You know that. And they went out and did their thing. Early on in the first missionary journey, they sent John Mark away.
Right.
Because he was nephew to Barnabas, and he just couldn't take it. It was too hard. And But then you fast forward, second missionary journey, Paul says, "Hey, Barnabas, let's go check on all those churches we planted the first time." And he said, "Super, I'll call John Mark." And he said, "John Mark? You're not calling John Mark. He's a pansy."
Wow.
And so, not exactly, I say exactly that way, but back and forth, no small disagreement, the scripture says.
Right.
And so ultimately, Paul just says, "All right, in that case, I'll take Silas and we'll go that way. You take John Mark and you go that way."
Yeah.
And I always love that story because, man, you're talking about two guys, Paul and Barnabas.
Yeah.
If they have an internal challenge. And,
crazy.
Yeah. And can you imagine the conversation that was going on with Barnabas and Mark as they were walking? Mark's like, "Man, Barnabas, I'm so sorry."
That had to have been
what
tough.
he said was true. I wimped out the first time.
Yeah.
But Barnabas says he's an encourager. Says, "Hey, John Mark, look, we serve a God of a second chance, a third chance, and a fourth chance. So who knows?" And I love it's a great model of leadership because in the midst of humiliation, Barnabas says to John Mark, "Hey, I believe in you, and who knows, God may even use you to write a book one day."
Wow.
He wrote the Gospel of Mark. So,
incredible.
Yeah, and so you just never know. You never know on the person you're investing in what eventually God's going to use them to do.
So true. Yeah. So true. And I think that I'm hearing the principles of don't throw in the towel too early. Don't give up. Even if you get sent home, God may have more for you. Opposition will occur.
Yeah.
People, I think the scripture says something like that. Like there was much open doors for ministry, and some opposed them.
Yeah.
And I think
actually says many opposed them.
Oh, I'm sorry, not some. Many.
1 Corinthians 16:9.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there are great open doors, but many oppose me, Paul said.
But many oppose me. Yeah. Expect that for all the leaders listening right now.
Yeah. And don't be too hard on yourself.
Right.
I just spoke to 4 or 5 colleges in the last month.
So good.
And that's not my sweet spot. Academia is not my sweet spot.
Got it.
Every time I started, I said, "Hey, look, the only reason they invite me here is to show you that a 2.4 GPA can get a job." So
I love that.
But you can, take some challenges that you might have And just remember, man, God's about doing extraordinary things to ordinary people.
Isn't that good?
It's not about you, it's about Him.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and kind of wind down here. A thought about church planting. I know that you're passionate about planting. You shared that Send Network is one of the strategic arms of NAM to get it done.
Yeah.
If somebody's thinking about church planting, listening to this, watching this, what would you encourage them with in this season?
Yeah, well, I would. I think the wisest thing to do would be go with Send Network.
Yeah, there it is.
There is not a better. Mainly because of the people who are planning in Send Network. You know, it's that brotherhood and that fellowship that you have.
Yeah.
Don't do it alone would be what I would say.
Don't do it alone. So you could be an ordinary person, may not be an extraordinary church planter today, but you could be an ordinary John Mark type leader. Don't go about it alone.
No. Go through the assessment. We have an assessment.
Yeah.
The assessment's there to help you.
That's
and
right.
Show you, look, here's what you need to work on. And there are no perfect people.
That's right.
And I think the assessments are
so
strategically designed to help you improve. And my word, any leader wants to be told how to improve.
Yeah.
Average players and average leaders just want to blend in, they keep their head ducked and they don't draw attention. But I've always found the good players, great players, they want to be coached, but they also, they want on a daily basis to perfect what they're doing.
Yeah. Help me get better.
Yeah.
Help me level up.
Yeah.
I want to stay where I'm at.
Yeah. I just don't want to make it. I want to really achieve something here and bring glory to the Lord in a greater way. So just don't underestimate what God can do with an average person.
So good. Yeah, I read this quote the other day from Kobe Bryant, and it just said, I can't relate to lazy people.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so good.
Yeah.
Just like, I want to get around some people that are going to be honest with me, loving with me, and make me better.
Yeah.
And that's so good.
I had someone ask me, hey, what would you tell, a student that's just in high school? What would you tell them, or college? And I said, man, it's like a football coach once said, 3 things. Don't do stupid stuff. Don't hang around stupid people.
Come on.
Don't go to stupid places.
Hey.
Everything will be fine.
3 for 3.
Yeah. Just don't be stupid.
Yeah. In other words, how can I level up in my leadership? Number 1, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we always do as we conclude the Level Up podcast is we'd love for you to just take a look at this camera right here and just speak directly to whoever's viewing this right now in kind of in a phrase, how you could level up in your leadership starting right now. If you could just speak directly to that person, that'd be powerful.
Sure. The best thing you could do to level up in your leadership is be honest with yourself.
So good.
We've all got room to grow, but so often people are in denial of their inconsistencies and their liabilities and the things they don't do well. So being honest with yourself, getting people around you who will be honest with you and seek to improve that way. That's the best way to level up as a leader, is to do it with honesty.
That's so good right there. I think that if you take that word of wisdom from Kevin Ezell and apply it today, you're going to level up in your leadership. You're going to be more self-aware. You're going to be better equipped to lead others. Because I don't think anybody wants to follow a know-it-all. Right? You can kind of sense if this person doesn't have great awareness or thinks don't think more higher than yourself than you ought, is a verse somewhere in there. Yeah. Right. But is honest with themselves, not afraid to tell on themselves. Right. But also I want to get better from that.
Sure.
When in concluding here, when it comes to leveling up leadership, there's really one area that I've been trying to help people level up in, and this is the first time I've ever done this on this podcast, so it's going to be awkward for a moment. Just hold on right there. Stay right there. Yeah. I felt like you needed a pair of these to some all-white Air Force Ones.
Man, that is the deal.
Can go with any outfit.
Man, my wife will wish I was on this like a year ago.
Yeah,
she's trying to upgrade my shoes, my clothes, everything. So.
Well, you helped us level up in so many areas. You're helping us level up here with some wisdom and leadership on the podcast. I'm a better leader, husband, dad, because of your influence in my life. This is my deposit back to you.
And I'll get you a vest. How about that?
Oh man, a sweater vest.
You're thrilled, right?
I can rock that. I'll pull that out. I'll do my best.
That's so kind of you. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us for the Level Up Leadership podcast today. Honored to have Kevin Ezell, president of the North American Mission Board, leading us today. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you soon. Peace.